Practicing Kintsugi. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast of The Ordinary Maverick. This is Ajay, your host, an ordinary maverick sharing real life thoughts and experiences and maverick tips. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so, and you will not miss another episode. Kintsugi. Some of you might have heard this word before, and for some, when you first read this, you were like, "What's this?" Well, when I first heard it, I was intrigued and, true to the maverick spirit, jumped right into finding out more. Mavericks are curious beings, right? Kintsugi is the Japanese art of putting broken pottery pieces back together with gold. Kintsugi translates to golden journey. It's also known as kintsikurai, golden repair, and evolved as the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery by mending the areas of breakage with lacquer dusted or mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. But what's most interesting and profound is the philosophy behind it. Breakage and repair are treated as part of a journey, as history, and to be seen rather than disguised or hidden. It teaches one to be aware that life is not perfect and that scars and learnings are to be proud of as one emerges out with something unique, distinct, and beautiful. No two objects break exactly the same way, and no two lives are the same. Going a bit deeper, it also shows that there is beauty in an object even after it's broken, and it's not something to be discarded. There is use for the object even after it's broken. So, in Kintsugi, one doesn't hide the flaws. In fact, it's just the opposite. The cracks are highlighted with gold, silver, literally illuminated, and the entire piece is unique. There's another aspect to it too. Remember the feeling when something precious falls and breaks? Panic, mixed with anxiety, mixed with sorrow. All depends how much one is attached to the object. But with practicing Kintsugi, it helps to not panic and feel devastated when a favorite cup or vase breaks. It helps in keeping calm in calamity and knowing that what will emerge will be more beautiful with the liquid gold poured into the cracks through the Kintsugi technique. It reinforces the human spirit and the beauty of human fragility, often overlooked in today's fast-paced competitive world. The world today favors the young, the beautiful. Perfection and anything old or broken doesn't merit the same value. Well, the practice of Kintsugi teaches us to stay optimistic even when things are falling apart and to celebrate the flaws and the challenges one may face in life. I must admit, I've had a thing with putting stuff back together since long. Mugs, pottery, vases, anything that broke, I would just sit for hours joining them up. Of course, not with liquid gold, but finding the best glue or material to stick them together or hold the pieces together. Little did I realize that I was practicing my own form of Kintsugi. For me, it was more about the fascination of putting things back together, of finding a way to reuse and not just throwing it away. And I have to admit, I'm really good at it. Let me tell you a story. We were on holiday during one of the school breaks in South Africa. We have many fond memories of the numerous trips we took across the country each time our girls were off from school. On one such trip, we toured the garden route, one of the most scenic road trips, known for its beauty the world over. The garden route is a must for anyone visiting South Africa. It soon became a favorite for us and we did it several times during our time in the country. There are many memories of the route, and one such memory is about the time we stopped by at the mohair mill shop in an area called the Crags. The Crags is an area about 20 kilometers from Plettenberg Bay, very stunning and a must-see while on the garden route. There's a lot to do here with wildlife sanctuaries, theater, beautiful scenery, and tons of art and crafts works. If you trace the origins of the word, crags is believed to have been given by early English settlers and refers to the craggy nature of the surrounding mountains and the crevices carved into their slopes by seasonal streams. There's a lot of history surrounding the crags and the challenges the area went through: deforestation, fires, and lots more, but that's for another time. The main thing is that there's a lot being done to preserve and restore the indigenous flora and fauna and bring back the natural and cultural history of the crags. Tourism and revenue plays a big part there, and the mohair mill shop along the road to Monkeyland helps do just that. We initially stumbled on it by curiosity. Yes, we love exploring. And so when we saw a sign saying that the mohair mill, off we went. It's a relatively big complex with the most beautiful mohair blankets and so much more. The philosophy is to source and promote local products, and one can find all sorts of things here: local cookbooks, pottery, kitchen stuff, gifts, Zulu shirts, leather wallets, belts. You get the point? It's almost impossible to leave without buying something. There's also a restaurant at the complex with some resident goats that children love to feed. But coming to the mohair itself, perhaps you are not aware, but South Africa produces approximately half the world's mohair, which makes it the largest producer of mohair in the world. Beautiful, fine mohair is produced as a result of high breeding standards and strict farming. The natural fiber has a high quality sheen and many natural properties, and the mohair production process is a synergistic relationship between the goats and humans, making it sustainable ethical farming practice. The Angora goat is a Turkish breed of a domesticated goat that produces the lustrous fiber known as mohair. Mohair is obtained by shearing the goat twice a year starting at 6 months of age. I have to say, the mohair mill shop produces beautiful blankets and socks. Their socks are particularly made to protect the feet from blisters and are used for hiking and adventure sport, helping keep the feet warm and dry. The mohair is expertly interwoven into the sock to give it that special feeling of warmth. We can vouch for these as we have used them and continue to do so till date. And yes, you'll find the beautiful mohair blanket on our bed to this day, almost a decade later, still being used daily. It seems that mohair can last a lifetime if kept well with care. Well, for us, our mohair blanket has traveled across the world and still works just fine. So yes, it does last a lifetime. Well, within the complex, there's a pottery studio, Porcupine Ceramics, and it manufactures handcrafted ceramic items inspired by the art and animals of Africa. What's interesting is that these are made using the ancient Japanese firing method of Raku, which gives an interesting crackled effect as there is rapid cooling of the glaze after coming out of an extremely hot kiln. This causes the glaze to shrink and to stretch, opening fine cracks defined by carbon infiltration while smoldering in a fire pit smothered with wood shavings. The artisans come from the surrounding crags areas and draw inspiration from their natural surroundings, creating the most beautiful objects. We did splurge a little and bought the most beautiful ceramic art in the form of a fish, all of a feet and a half long and about 10 inches wide, nicely propped up on a metal sturdy stand from the studio. It was packed into a special polyurethane foamed pack for maximum protection as it traveled to Pretoria, where we were living at the time. And yes, we found a beautiful spot for it in our home. each time we looked at it, beautiful memories came back. And then we were moving, leaving South Africa for our next destination. We decided to take our beautiful fish back home to India, to our home there, rather than traveling to different places. So once again, wrapped up and put it in the suitcase to make its journey. Well, this time it didn't quite work. Imagine the dismay when we found the fish broken in several pieces as it made its transcontinental journey. Got some lessons there on transporting such stuff. And yes, it hasn't broken since, even though it's done some journeys since. But it did break at that time. And little did I realize I was practicing Kintsugi. I sat down to put it together. The fish today has a special spot in our home. The crackled effect of the pottery technique merging with the Kintsugi technique of putting it back together. All in all, creating a masterpiece of sorts. And yes, there definitely isn't another piece like it anywhere in the world. The learnings from Kintsugi of resilience, of showing the scars beautifully and proudly, of life going on, scars and all, of seeing beauty in something that is broken and mended, and of continuing to create memories and not regretting or lamenting over spilt milk has remained with me and our family. One of the side effects of moving 28 times in a span of 3 decades means that things will get broken. But Kintsugi has shown that nothing is beyond repair, and what emerges is even more special and beautiful. we are more relaxed nowadays, and if one could say, cool about moving. Definitely no stress about things reaching safely, because if they don't, there's always Kintsugi. Fellow Mavericks, I urge you to pause and think a bit. In life, there are many occasions where we are broken and down. Apply Kintsugi and build back something that is even more beautiful and special. From my personal experience, you will never be disappointed. Keep up the high spirits, folks, and send in your comments and experiences of, my earlier podcast on the black tie events and also on Kintsugi at theordinarymaverick@gmail.com, and follow me on Instagram #theordinarymaverick. I love hearing from you. This is Ajay signing off, wishing you have an amazing day, a super amazing year. Keep well, stay safe. Credits. This podcast series was put together as a team effort from the Bhardwaj family. Concept, design, title, researchers and reviewers Ajay, Sanjana, Avantika and Niharika Bhardwaj. Script, Sanjana. Cover design, Niharika. All rights reserved.